Hey Peyton, hey Jedi. Hey Kitty, welcome you guys. Hello, welcome in. Happy Monday, you guys. Hello, Kim. Hey, Laura. We're going to give it a few minutes just to let everybody get a chance to pop on before we get started. April, Rodney, hello. So good to see you guys. Right. Still just getting a little situated. Hello, Fractured. Welcome, you guys. All right. Welcome, you guys. My name is Brianna, also known as Dread Pirate Brie. I am going to be your host on today's Mixed Media Monday. You can check out my artwork here on my user handle. And let's get started. So this is your first time tuning in. This is Mixed Media Monday, the live stream we get together every Monday, and we tackle a mixed media project together. For the next several weeks, we're going to be hosting a sponsored live stream here on Mixed Media Mondays featuring products from Marabu. So I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors at MarabuCreative USA. Hey, Lee. Definitely give them a follow, you guys. They're amazing. I've been using their products for the last, today's the last month of February. So for the last 2 months, I've been using their products here on Mixed Media Mondays. And oh my gosh, even in my personal work, it's like they're laced with magic. They're amazing. I haven't found a Marabu product that I don't love. And I know I say that every live stream, but it's true. So I want to give you a huge thank you to Marabu for sponsoring this live stream and supporting ArtSnacks. All right, so let's go ahead, clean up this little display here, add a little tag. There we go. So as you can tell, we've got 2 products that we're going to be focusing on today. We have got the beautiful aqua inks. They come in, I don't remember, I think 14 different colors. And we have all the sets available in the ArtSnacks shop. So everything I'm using here today is going to be available in the ArtSnacks shop. And we have even more colors than what's right here. So definitely check it out. You can also, if you are tuning in live, you can absolutely click on the pinned products down below. And even if you're catching the replay, you can still shop this live stream. So you don't have to go to the shop and you have to try and remember what you saw. You can literally get a direct link from this live stream into the ArtSnacks shop if you see anything that you like. Okay, so we're going to be doing these 2 items. These are the aqua inks right here, and these are watercolor inks, you guys. I love these. I use these during Inktober, and these are amazing. So for the surface that I'm going to be working on, I do have the Canson Mixed Media art boards, and these are really great for mixed media projects. So I'm just I have a sample sheet right here that I always keep around, hold on. So I'm going to go ahead and test it with a paintbrush, but the goal today, we're not going to use any paintbrushes. So whenever you're shaking your ink, you want to just give it a light rocking back and forth. You don't want to vigorously shake it because it's going to leave a lot of air bubbles in your ink. Even this has got a little bit of air bubbles right there. So I'm going to just pop that. Come on. There we go. And you can even use what's in your cap right here. And you're just going to lay it down. And then you can just fan it out with some water. And it's a beautiful watercolor. They're super vibrant and very, very fun. And it's really great because you can just, you can mix with your other colors to get more values and whatnot. This is not the best surface for water media in particular. Like for heavy water. It's good for light water. So let's try that again on some actual paper here. But that's okay because we're not going to be using these in the traditional watercolor sense today. But it also creates a nice little texture. But just to show you on some paper. Oh, so nice. I love it. And they behave like normal watercolors, you guys. But they're ink. They're liquid form. And it's amazing. So definitely check that out. The next item that we're going to be focusing on is actually the Mixed Media Marabu Spray. This is liquid acrylic. So it is a very diluted acrylic form of paint. And it comes in a fun spray bottle. So it's just really fun just to shake it. So you want to shake it up before you use it. And you want to just give it like a little spritz. Right there, right there. And you can like pull back for more spritzing, like to get a wider range. You can also, guys, don't be limiting yourself to just using the nozzle for this. Actually, feel free to unscrew the cap right here and like go at it with the stem or even just with a paintbrush. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is all about mixed media, you guys. Mixed media is all about going crazy with everything. So again, we're not going to be using brushes today, but I wanted to go ahead and demonstrate for you just some of the possibilities that you can do. We'll go into the other techniques that we can use. Since we're not using brushes, we'll go into the other techniques shortly. So I actually thought it was fun. We're going to be working on abstract today, and I'm super excited. So I've taken one of these mixed media boards. I've taken a couple of them actually, and I have laid out patterns of washi tape. I actually forget this is a thing. You can actually quarter and section out areas of your piece with washi tape. And then when you're all done, you get to remove that washi tape and have these beautiful white lines outlining your work. So let's go ahead and jump in. I have a couple of them here today. We're probably gonna do a few. And we're gonna start with our background. We're gonna start with our background colors. And I'm actually really enjoying this tangerine color. I really love orange. So now, in case you were curious about what supplies I would be using that is not brushes, I'm like literally locking my brushes away so I'm not tempted to use them. I have a whole box of just random things here. I have some makeup brushes, I have some Q-tips, I have some palette knives, which the ArtSnacks shop does have some palette knives if you were needing some, and this one is my personal favorite. I have a comb, a toothbrush, a fork, a spoon, some washi tape, cardboard rolls, a credit card, and just, this is actually my favorite. This is a toilet paper roll, rubber band with bubble wrap on it, and it's so much fun. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump in and just have some fun with this. The whole point is abstract, so there's no right or wrong. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to start with a nice base layer, just spritzing it around, and then by taking this, ooh, it's got some residue from when I was playing earlier, and you can create this beautiful texture just around your piece. And what it also does, it's helping because you can actually go ahead, like it actually dries a lot quicker. This dries so much quicker when you spread it around instead of waiting for the little puddles of paint to dry out. That kind of looks like a palm tree, like palm ferns. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. So if you imagine if you did that in green. So now while this is going on, I want to get a couple of base layers down. So we're gonna be rotating a lot here, and that's totally fine. Sometimes it's really great to do in your work if you have a lot going on. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm gonna go ahead and take my little ink dropper here. I love this petrol color. It's like a teal, like a really deep teal color. It's one of my favorites. So by going ahead and taking your inks here. Now you do want to be careful that you don't accidentally tip your bottle of ink over, which is totally fine. We're just take the dropper. We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to like make an even line. And we're just going to work on that. Now, once we have our even line down, what you can do is you can take a hair comb and you can start to create some texture. You could even like get some nice zigzags. I'm literally just laying down texture, you guys. I'm not really thinking about it too much. And I like that there's different angles of this comb right here. So this is actually gonna be like a really nice top side effect once we get some more background down. I think I like the Marabu sprays for laying out a large area of background. So we have one area. Let's go ahead and use this lavender. It's another favorite color of mine. Woo. And this one's got a little bit of a clog to it, and I like that. It gives like a lot more of a targeted texture to my area. Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot. And guys, this petrol color is like amazing. It blends so nice with so many colors. Like it blends amazing with a burgundy type color. Whew. And then from there, you could even do things. You can take a palette knife and you can stretch your color. I think it works better with a pool of color, but you can, ooh, see, like, I like how that's like catching some of the ink from above that's still not dry yet and just kind of accenting it down into the lower areas of our piece. Let's do the opposite way and see what we get. I'm all about accenting the same color of your piece in multiple areas. So if I have a color in one area, I usually like to put a little bit of it somewhere else on the canvas or on the surface, whatever, because it helps kind of draw it. It kind of like creates a circular motion for the eye in a focal point type sense. So now we got like some beautiful, I'm thinking rainfall effect. Maybe I'm seeing things, but it's abstract. It's whatever you want it to be. So I got one more here. Actually, let's go ahead. Let's see what we can accomplish with two. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. So we got this nice, beautiful orange section here. So let's go ahead and start to add in some deeper range of value. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Bordeaux color, which is basically just another version of raspberry, and it's one of my favorites. And now with this, you could even take some wax paper. Just have some wax paper off to the side. I have a very tiny desk here. Hold on. You take some wax paper off to the side here, and you just spritz some down, kind of like a little puddle of paint right there. We're going to pull from that with our little bundle of Q-tips. As you guys can see where I'm going with this. This is not new. This is none of this is new. We're just going to take that, and we're just going to start to create a beautiful kind of motion on our page. I don't want to cover the whole page with this. I kind of want to just let it kind of travel around my piece. Like have your action line be just traveling around your whole piece. But I love this. Like I would spend so much time driving myself crazy trying to get all these little textured effects when sometimes you just have to change up the way you do it. Sometimes if you want something more organic, you have to go to a more organic source, which means sacrificing the perfectionism in us. Oh darn. We as artists always get stuck on perfectionism at some point or another. This is why I love mixed media so much, is because it really helps you to loosen up. It helps you to loosen up. It helps you to really view things differently. And it's amazing. So let's go ahead and do the same technique. We're going to layer it up. We're going to build a layer. We're going to add a different color. I'm going to go ahead and add this Genetian. I can't pronounce it very well. I'm probably butchering the name, but that's fine. Just same thing. Just go ahead and spritz it off to the side. And it's going to get everywhere, and that's just a sign that you had a lot of fun. You definitely want to make sure that whenever you're playing with these sprays in particular, that you're doing it in a place that you're not going to, like, it's not going to leave a stain, because it is acrylic, so it's permanent when dry. And I want to just lightly fan it out. Let's see what we get. Ooh! Oh, I like that. Oh, that's fun. Okay. I love that a lot. Oh, that's amazing. I love that so much. Now I have to make sure that I'm not overdoing it. So we're just going to do little light hatches here and there. Now I want to fill this page. I want to fill this piece up with all kinds of color. I want it to be like completely solid of color because I want the white to be the whitest part of my piece because that's what's going to make it stand out. Okay. So let's go ahead, let's take some of the inks here. Let's see what we can get as far as our inking goes. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take the residue of this because remember, waste not in your ink. Waste not in your mixed media art. We're going to take a makeup sponge here and now this is going to absorb a lot. So you got to kind of work quickly, but you're going to go ahead and dab in your color into these areas. So we're still accenting that blue there. It's a strong blue. I think I'm feeling some teal after this. And you're just dabbing it in. Now it will swell. Your makeup sponge will swell with paint and everything, which is why you got to work quickly. So let's go ahead and grab this Caribbean color. There we go. So we're going to do the same thing because I don't, you know what? Let's go ahead and just do like one spritz, like bam, right there. And then we're going to take this because I want to accent it. Ooh, that was a really strong, satisfying sound right there. I want to go ahead and accent it in another corner of the page. Now this is a little bit more of a diluted color, which is fine. Another thing that you can do, it's really fun. Now, remember I think it was last week, when we were going over the Marabu crayons and we were mixing them with gesso, you can do the same thing with acrylic. If you want to create a paint-like effect and you want to have a little more just opaqueness to your piece and you want to make your own paint, just take some gesso and you just mix it with your acrylic or your ink. You could even do this with your watercolor inks. So now we have a nice pale color. I'm going to waste not with your pieces here. We're just going to take that. We're just going to wipe this onto our piece instead of a paper towel because you want to use up everything you're using. And by taking this makeup sponge, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and dab in. I want to create a little bit more opaqueness over here in this corner. Oh, and look at even though it's more opaque, it's still layering and showing the under layers underneath, which is amazing. Like imagine if you did this for like a sky piece. If you combined some of these inks with a little bit of gesso and took a makeup sponge, not even necessarily a paintbrush, you just took like a makeup sponge or a paper towel or something and you just blotted it in, or even just like regular sponge. That might be the one thing I forgot to pack today was an actual sponge, but that's okay. We got makeup sponges. We're fine. All right. And we're creating some value and some depth there. I'm going to use up the last little bit on this piece of wax paper and of the darker blue. And you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the dark ultramarine blue and I'm going to go ahead and put some over here. Once I find my little eyedropper, where I put my little eyedropper. It's running away from me. You know what? That's okay. Oh, it's in the water container. That's why. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take that here. And we're just going to dot a little there. There we go. Ooh. Okay. I like to put the caps back on because I lose stuff in my desk all the time. And I don't want to accidentally tip it over and waste all this beautiful ink. And then you can always save this for later. All right. We're going to go back to that makeup sponge there. We're just going to do a little bit. Just dab a little bit and just kind of like blot it in there. Look at that blending effect. Look at how well it blends. And it's probably blending that well because it's still kind of wet. Beautiful. All right. And then a little bit here. We're just going to I love these. Anytime you can get these streak effects, I am in love with it. Anytime you can get these streak effects, I love. Let's go ahead and just take the corner of it. Let's just apply. You're looking for texture. You're looking for any way you can make texture. You can already see this is kind of starting to flare out because it's got a lot of stuff in it. So that's okay. So by taking some texture, we're actually going to take this palette knife here. We're going to see what we can get if we spread it out. Or, oh, you can get even tinier lines. Ooh, look at that one. Just these really tiny, thin strands. Ooh. And like, have a loose hand with it. Have a really loose hand. It does not have to be picture perfect straight. The whole point is to be loose and have fun with it. Now, because I have this, it's going to get pulled up later. I don't want to like isolate this section too much, not just yet. So I want to go ahead and echo that same line texture onto the other side here. And see, we're just kind of building. We want them to be cohesive. We want them to speak across the white line a little bit. We want them to be cohesive. And you could even like fan it out a little bit. So in case you didn't know, abstract is not my normal niche. That's not normally what I do. But it doesn't matter because it's still really fun. All right. Now, I brought back one of our favorite things, and that is the handmade stencils. Now, if you were here for one of the first live streams, I don't remember which one it was, but we did a project where we were using stencils, and I just make my own stencils. Like, you can absolutely buy them or use what you have, but I just decided to make my own stencils. So I'm going to take some scrap pieces of Bristol paper because I don't want my acrylic spray to get too out of hand. I want to go ahead and kind of keep it somewhat contained. So we're just going to create some texture, a little bit more refined texture, I think. Ooh, actually, you know what we should do? We should accent that same color that we were using onto the other side. So I still have a little bit of paint here. So let's just go ahead and just start dabbing that in and see what we get. All right. By using this in there, and I'm kind of focusing on the outer tips of the leaves. There we go. And then I'm going to take, now here I am going to use some spray. We're going to go ahead and take this Caribbean color again. I really love the Caribbean color. And we're just going to lightly, we're going to hold it down and just, wow. Oop. You know what? Waste not, want not. I'm going to take the residue of this. Guys, mixed media is such a mess, and it's amazing. Oh, it feels so satisfying. Same thing, just bop, bop, bop. Everything gets used in mixed media. Every little thing gets used up. I like how it's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it's in there. All right. Now, I'm not actually done with that color, so I'm going to go ahead and spritz some of this over off to the side. And by taking this toilet paper roll with just bubble wrap around it, we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of add some more of that texture in there. I originally made it with the thought of rolling it like a stamp, but it ended up just being way more cooler just on its own. And we're still pushing our values, which is really great. And in fact, I want to kind of keep that going. So I'm going to take this Bordeaux color again. I'm kind of rotating between the same color palette, which is fine because it creates a sense of cohesion. And remember, we're accenting all over the place. So I'm actually going to take this. I'm actually going to take a palette knife here, and we're just going to see what we can create texture-wise. In fact, I'm going to grab a toothbrush. We're just going to put a little bit of water on that toothbrush, and we're just going to like start to stroke it out just a little bit, blend it off, maybe blur those lines a little bit. And you can even take it in here and you can just start to fan it out. Now notice that we are filling our page. We're covering up all the white areas. It can be really tempting to feel like, oh, but I don't want to ruin it. Well, you're not going to ruin it because it's mixed media. You can go haywire with it. So I'm going to do the same thing. Drop the cap. Oh, well, pick it up later. We don't got time to stop and pick up a cap. So we're going to go ahead and fill in all those little white areas. You can even kind of accent that a little bit here. Fade it out. Even go over the top of your leaf that you already put there. And we're just going to kind of carry that over. This paper's getting a little worked. Awesome. We have a new texture. Talk about organic. All right. But I do think we're going to let this one sit for a little bit. So we're going to come back to this one. We're going to rotate back to our, I don't know, this reminds me of like a rainfall somehow. Reminds me of rainfall somehow. So let's go ahead and come back to this one. And let's go ahead and we're going to run back to this Bordeaux color. I'm going to use up the rest of what I have over here. And we're just going to like start to kind of still following in that same direction. I kind of like the idea of it going in the same direction. The other one's kind of crazy all over the place, but I really like that this one has kind of got a flow going. And we're going to take some of that blue that we have, still just kind of using up what we have. Like honestly, with mixed media, don't be afraid to just use up what you have. I'm like not even thinking about this, and it's really relaxing. I am enjoying this. I'm not overthinking too much. Now, if you are familiar with my personal work, I'm very much of a, I focus heavy on line work. I do a lot of fantasy illustrations, all that sort of stuff. So I focus very heavily on the structure of my pieces. So to do something like this is just super relaxing. And I'm just about making the textures. Look at that beautiful, just dry wash effect with a toothbrush. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to take, you know what? I love this color. This color is called Rosita, and I love it. It's like this lime green type of color, and it complements so much. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, who would ever want that color? And now it's one of my all-time favorite Marabu colors. Love it for so many things. So taking this, we're going to go ahead, make sure there's enough room. And I think we're gonna actually mix it with some gesso because I want to have a little bit more opacity. And this is a very transparent color, but I want to have a little bit of a little bit more opacity. All right. I'm not normally a lime green fan, but I do love this color. Guys, if you are not following Marabu yet, you want to be. Oh, guys, it also comes in a acrylic spray, but that's perfectly fine because we're going to go ahead and mix the gesso with a watercolor ink for the change. We're going to go ahead and we just want a little bit. We don't want a whole lot. So like 2 drops of this gesso. And by taking, you can mix, honestly, this translates to just about anything. You can mix your paints best with a palette knife because the brush will not eat it up. Ooh, look at that. Super pastel. Love it. Love that so much. Now, if you want a thicker consistency, then you'd add a little bit more of the gesso. And we're going to go ahead. We're just going to, I think because it's so pale, we're going to use the other end of this Q-tip bundle. And we're just going to kind of go over the top of this. Ooh. Oh, that's fun. That squiggly line all the way up. That is fun. Oh, I like it. And it is very faint, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing. And I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross over here. We're going to make 2 different action lines because why not? Abstract is seriously a great way to just step outside your comfort zone. The more that you experiment with your art supplies, whether it's abstract or mixed media or whatever, but the more that you experiment and try new things with your art supplies, the more it keeps your creativity running and the better inspiration that you find. It's also a really great way to bust through some art block if you're experiencing that at any given point in time. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the, you know what I want to make? I want to kind of accent. This is a little bit more of a geometric shape here. I want to make a little bit more of that. So let's go ahead and take this piece. We're going to take these scratched pieces of Bristol paper that I use to just block off my areas. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to give a nice, that was a lot. That's okay. Ah, look at that crisp line. Oh, I love it. Okay, and now that we have that, guess what else we can do? We still have some stuff here. So you're going to very gently turn it over and press it down. Ah, I love that. It's so satisfying. And you have this nice straight line. It's kind of counteracting these lines. And it's amazing. Ooh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. And then you still have a little bit more. You can check based on the reflection. And you just go ahead and press it down, kind of like a stamp. And it's amazing. All right, we're going to do the same thing with the other side. We're going to kind of, there we go. Not as nice of a crisp edge, but you know what? That just means that there's more emphasis on these 2 areas. I love it. It kind of reminds me of an 80s pattern, especially with this pinky color, this watermelon color kind of reminds me of an 80s pattern. All right. Now that that's been going on, let's go ahead and we're going to take this little sponge we've already been using. We're going to go ahead, we're going to work within the confines of this shape right here, and we're just going to dab it around. Mainly I wanted to soak up all the excess because I wanted to dry a little quicker. I'm a little impatient, I'm not going to lie, especially when I've got a live stream here. So we're just going to go ahead and help it along, and we're just going to help it just kind of dry a little bit. And it's great because this little makeup sponge just gets right into the corners there while still preserving that beautiful line. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of dab the rest of that over here. And you could even just kind of fan it out or blend it out, whatever you want. It's really a great effect when you have a straight cutoff line and then it fans out and just fades around into your piece. All right, here we go. Looking good. Okay, now I kind of want to create that Rosita color again in another area. So I think now is the time to go ahead and just bring in the spray a little bit. In fact, I wonder if we could even block it off just a little bit. Ah, okay, I love it. So much fun. There we go. And then what you can do there, so since we have all this excess right there, you can actually take it, you can just slide it. Just slide it. Like you're literally just using scraps of paper here. You don't have to have brushes to make fun art. I know as a kid growing up, I was always disappointed when I couldn't find like the right brush in the house, you know, because things get lost in the house. And had I known about this, it would have changed my world. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and I think we're going to go back to this other one because I want to look at it with fresh eyes. Another really great thing is by rotating through your pieces, you're coming back with fresh eyes. And it's amazing because you can see new things that you're like, okay, I can see like this area is a little bit lighter and I got some white spots right there because I want to cover up all my white spots. So let's go ahead, let's pull another stencil here. Let's create some more texture. In fact, let's call in that Bordeaux color. Now, remembering that we have this washi tape that we're going to lift up, so we want things to transfer over. We want them to kind of connect. So we're going to go ahead and go right on top of the washi tape right there, and that's a good indicator of where to aim the paint. There we go. And so by laying that down, and you know what, just to preserve the rest, because I'm all about a mess, but I do want to be a little cognizant of it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to shield our little area right there. And we're just going to, okay. Now before we even lift it up, I'm going to go ahead and take this makeup brush right here and we're just going to dab it, kind of dab up all the excess and lift. Ah, look at that. I love that. And then same thing, kind of get that negative space and just kind of press the excess of your stencil down anywhere. Now that didn't work out as nice as I would have liked, but it probably would have worked out much better if I had not dabbed it up with this. So let's go ahead and take this. Let's just kind of dab in some of the excess, kind of accenting that color down here, kind of pulling it all together. There we go. Finger painting, huh? I wonder if you couldn't do that here. Oh, you know a cool thing I was playing around with earlier? Okay, I'm not going to use this color because we don't have any of that in here, but I am going to use this. So if you shake it up, make sure it's really good. You're just going to need a little bit. We're going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to set that aside. And you're going to fill this just a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little. And it's really cool, especially if you have a longer one like this, is that you can actually take this and you can like kind of use it like a pen. Create some inky textures. Ooh, look at that. Kind of like your own ink pen. Now I kind of want, remember I still have that line, so I want to kind of accent it, pull it together, make sure that they're still talking to each other. Ooh. Now that's a lot of ink right there, but I think it's going to be so worth it when it dries. Kind of gives it a little element of texture, or sorry, an element of line work through all the texture. Because sometimes when you have this much busyness going on, you need some ground for your piece to kind of gravitate towards. All right. Now, another thing I like to do with these is I actually like to utilize the stem. That's the Caribbean color right there. So let's go ahead and go back to our, there we go. Ah, you know what? Let's think, we need a little bit more of the Bordeaux color. We have a lot of this blue, so let's accent it some in a different way. In fact, I think I'm going to make some more orange here in a second. But we're going to take this, we're just going to take the stem and we're just going to kind of just add some little dabs, and I'm kind of like stabbing it into my paper or to my board because it's super thick. And we're just going to create some scribbles here. No rhyme or reason, just some texture. Looking to add some different texture. It does look like rainy Washington. I love it. Sunset in the storm. See, this is what I love about abstract, is that everybody has a different perspective, and it's amazing. Now, I'm hoping that nope, it's going to dry perfect. It's not going to be as loud as it is currently, but it will still be noticeable, and that's awesome. All right, kind of same thing, just kind of creating some texture here. There we go. I'm just kind of use the stem. Like, don't limit yourself to just using the nozzle here. Like, use the stem of your painting. If you really wanted to, you could even like fan this out. But I think we're going to let this one sit. We're going to be very careful as I move it aside and not move that ink. But we got to let it get a little bit of dry time. I would love to create something similar to that effect on this side. Ooh, now I want this area to be a little bit dry, so we're just going to go ahead and pick up the excess, and there we go. You still have that nice glow. This one totally feels like 80s. I'm not even kidding. Oh, okay. I'm losing caps all over the place, and that's totally fine. I think I'm going to take a nice, what is this color? Sky blue. A nice sky blue, because I want this one to be a little softer than the other. And we're just going to add a little bit right there. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a fork. I'm going to take a fork and see what kind of texture. Ooh, that spread really far. Love it. Very, very, very light. But it creates a beautiful texture. And just carrying it down. I actually really like that grid texture amidst all the crazy angular side of things. All right. Now I want to create some, I need something more opaque again. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to create another opaque color. I think what we're going to do, I'm trying to find a good color for this one. You know, let's go ahead and grab the Bordeaux. I love the Bordeaux color. The Bordeaux and the petrol color are my favorites in the Marabu line. My wax paper is pretty outrageous over here. We're just going to fold that up nice and tight. And spritz some of that down. It's probably going to make a nice pink color once we add some gesso to it, which is totally fine. Oh, we're running out of room. We're just going to add a nice gesso color to this. Grab your palette knife, which my desk has eaten at the moment. There it is. I'm just going to mix that up. Ooh. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. You know what? I wonder how this would work with an outline. Let's go ahead and take this color, and we're going to create a kind of a outline on the piece. And just kind of go back and forth, kind of outline, highlight that section right there, just the shape of this triangle. Here we go. I don't think that I had a triangle on this side, but that's okay. We're just making our own. I like how it's kind of still subtle. It's not too distracting. And you just slide it in there. Guys, you can do so much with palette knives. Not even kidding. Yes, you can do splatter with a toothbrush. That's actually like a classic move in the art world. At least I think it is. So by taking, you wanted a more, I've always only ever sprayed the back of my face. I've never really gotten the paper of it. So let's see if we can actually do some. Ooh, you know what? I wonder if we blended these two colors together, what they would make. Let's try it. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, I like that. It kind of creates the two. Now, that's another thing whenever you're working with colors is to blend your colors, because by blending, oh, look at that. Well, look at that. We're getting a little bit of finger painting in after all. By blending in your colors, by blending them together, you are creating that same cohesion, just like we accent with colors on different parts of the page. We also want to be accenting with the right colors. And the right color sometimes is just mixing your colors together, like having a limited color palette and mixing it together to get the effect that you want. So we're going to pick that up right there. And I think you do it like that. Yes. You get a nice smaller spray. Now, don't forget to go over. The more you can go over your masking lines, the more cohesive it's going to look whenever it all comes together. Like, I love those pieces whenever they have the white line separating and you look at it, but you can see where they blend. It's just so much fun. And a little bit down here. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to take the excess from my fingers. We're going to go ahead, We're just gonna apply that like so. Look at that, finger painting, finger inking really. Same thing, just kind of, anytime you can get that organic texture to cross over on the two different sides, do it, because it will create so much more cohesion in your piece. I love it. I am gonna rinse this because I have not rinsed this. Ooh, you know what? Now I found this on one of the bottles of ink when I was opening it up, and this is just a residue of the ink. I actually posted about this earlier on my channel. So we're just going to lay that down, and we're going to kind of pack it in with some water and kind of see what it will create. Kind of carry that over. Ooh, I love that. All I did was dip this in some water, and we're just spreading it around, getting a nice watercolor texture without using a paintbrush. Look at that. Look at us being clever. All right. I mean, I don't know. Would you guys say this is abstract? I feel like this is abstract. I always go into abstract, never really knowing exactly what I'm going to do. But I feel like it always works out. I feel like if you can just do abstract, I feel like you're good. Just kind of blending that out, blending that around. Kind of crossing that over. All right, cool. I think it's time to go back to the other one. I think our other one needs a little bit more orange to it. Let's see how the cloud is doing. Oh, it's still really, really wet. It's still drying. Okay. But that's okay. So while that's, sorting itself out, we're going to go ahead and make an opaque watercolor. Sorry, not watercolor, an opaque orange. I'm going to dab up some of this extra paint there with my paper towel. Let's see. Just see. Ooh, okay. Again, don't waste. All right. Now one of the things, now I have these washi tape rolls that are empty. I was masking these areas, and I cleared out like 3 washi tape rolls that were on the end of their life. So I really want to incorporate these somehow. So I think we're going to once we lay down another layer of orange in some areas, let's go ahead and just kind of spritz this down. Quite a bit there. Totally fine. All right. And we're just gonna take the blunt end of this toothbrush, and we're just gonna go ahead and mix that in. Ooh, looks so appetizing. Just keep mixing through that part. Totally fine. Now you got a nice orangical color. All right. Now I'm going to take this guy right here, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of create a little bit of that orange technique. Now I have some residue from earlier when we were creating that nice line there. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of add that in. I want to add a little bit more, and it's not quite as opaque as I'd want it to be. Let's go for something a little thicker, because the orange is really similar. These oranges are like the same color. They're just different types of media, which is amazing. Now you do want to be careful with this, because orange and blue together, they create like, I think it's a brown color. I think together they make a brown color, which is totally fine. But I don't want to lose the vibrancy at the same time. There we go. All right. So by taking this here, we're just gonna go ahead and lay some down. You know what? I actually kind of like that. I kind of like that contrast there. It's not as opaque as I was hoping for, but that's okay, because it kind of creates a little, it pulls it in without it being the same. It pulls it in without being the exact same color. Kind of crossing that. Oh, and look at how bright it gets as we get into the lighter areas of our piece right there. Love that. And I'm just kind of like bouncing back and forth, creating that nice contrast there. I don't want that harsh line. So you can always blend it out, because guess what? It's a makeup brush. All right. Now this area is probably not going to dry in the time that I want it to. So let's go ahead. let's go ahead and just kind of dab up some of that excess with this Q-tip. We still want to keep that nice crisp line. I don't know how crisp we're going to be able to keep it, but that's okay. If anything, we're just going to dab it up with, I don't know if I want to, no, actually a makeup brush would probably be perfect because it's going to work like a sponge. It's going to start to pick up that area. And you know what? Carry some of that area down here because I don't think we have any of that teal color down here, that Caribbean color. Here we go. Now that's taking a, while that's fine and all, it's taking a little bit long for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with a paper towel and just hope for the best. There we go. It's the best. Haha. Actually, very proud of that. All right. Now I'm wanting to go ahead and create a little bit more depth over there. So let's go ahead and take that Bordeaux color because it's a nice contrasting, kind of complements with that orange color. There we go. I'm trying to think of the right word. Just kind of deepen that out. All right, now we have a little bit of corners over here, so let's take that same color. Let's take that orange. Oh, look at that color. Look at how these colors just complement each other so well. Let's take that orange color, and we're just gonna go ahead and kind of fill in that corner. Same with the Bordeaux, going over with some of that Bordeaux there. It kind of creates that fiery red. Love it. I'm gonna add a little bit of that orange over here as well. And it just soaks it up so nice. Love that. I love that we still get a little bit of a structure right there and even there in the clouds. And it's just beautiful. Love it. Okay, we're going to go back to our other one because the other one's probably ready for some more attention. Now, if you had a straw, you could always like lay some of this down and like blow it around with the straw. But I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to go straight directly on it. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of try to create a little bit of a splatter effect almost. Love that. I love palette knives. I love working with palette knives. They're so much fun. All right. Now I think I need a little bit of the petrol color because we have a lot of it back there when we first started. We don't have anything else around. And there's actually an ink spray of it. Yep, we got an ink spray of it. And we still have some wet areas here, so we're going to go ahead and just dab those, make them a little bit drier, a little faster. And if anything, it just adds more texture. And same thing, we're just going to pick up a little bit there, a little bit there. Cool. Now you can still go over this while it is wet. I'm going to take another piece of wax paper here because I'm running out of wax paper. We're just going to go ahead and kind of add some here. And we're going to go ahead, didn't think quite of how to add this. Ooh, oh, look at that. That wet on wet technique where it just kind of starts to feather. Now, while it's still wet, what you can do, you can go ahead and just kind of blend this out. Just like let it move. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts about ink. It's just the way it has a mind of its own. It's beautiful. This is one of my favorite things every year during Inktober is just, that's the time when I play with ink the most. And it's wonderful. All right. But we still need some of that over here. So let's go ahead. Let's start to add some of that. In fact, I think let's go ahead and try that wet on wet technique. We're going to take water from my paint palette here and we're just going to lay it down, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of add drops and let it kind of spread around. In fact, you can even kind of help it around. Ooh, look at that. And you can even add some water. Because who says you can't watercolor with finger paints, right? Here we go. Love that. I love anytime you can get a watercolor technique. It's so amazing. Same thing, kind of dabbing that with the water there. I'm just kind of playing around with the texture here. Got a couple of minutes left, and then we're going to go ahead and do the most satisfying part, and that is remove all of the washi tape. I'm going to give it a couple extra minutes to do that because we have so much more washi tape to take off this time. Kind of same thing, just spreading that around. And trying to go above, cross over that line, cross the line as much as possible. If you're doing a technique with this washi tape stuff, you want to cross that line as much as possible. Guys, look at my hands, a sign of a messy artist. All right. Now, I'm going to let this sit as much as possible because we need to start to take the washi tape off, and I want to let this dry, and if whatever doesn't dry, I'll dab away with a makeup sponge or something. I'm actually really, really pleased with the turnout of this piece in particular. I think it's amazing. I love the colors. These are kind of like my colors, blues and oranges. Love blues and oranges so much. And let's go ahead and start the very satisfying process. And let's let the magic reveal. All right. I'm going to have my hands covered in washi tape at this point. Ah, so satisfying. This is one of the things I love. Now you do see that there's a little bit of bleed here and there. That's okay. That's just normal. And just embrace it when it happens. There we go. And if you really wanted to make it all white, you can go in with some white paint or a white out pen or jelly roll or something like that. And you can just white out those little spots. But this is very, very satisfying. I feel like the white stripes kind of help with the busyness of this whole piece. Ooh, and there you go. So now sometimes you're going to find that there. It's going to try and like rip on you. So take your time when doing this. So we have a little bit of a tear right there, and that's okay. Honestly, it's perfectly fine. That's why you want to take it as slow as possible. You want to pull it at a 90-degree angle. I believe that's 90, 45. I don't remember. Yeah. You want to pull to the side there. That works the best. All right. And then you find whichever one is layered on top. Yeah. Again, being very careful. All right. This is why I started this process a little earlier. I love, nothing is more satisfying than taking the masking tape off of your painting to get that nice, beautiful, natural, clean white line. By natural, I mean it's not painted on. It's literally just your paper. There's nothing more satisfying, in my opinion. Oh, it's ripping just a little bit. So when that starts to happen, don't be afraid to start on the other end and pull the masking tape off. Whew. Okay. Woo. It's a tiny little tear there, and that's perfectly fine. But look at that. Look how fun that is. It kind of looks like it's in a frame already. That is super satisfying. All right, now let's go back to the other ones, see how that one's doing before we sign them, because you always sign your work. All right, we have a few little spots right there, so we're just gonna take the makeup sponge. I actually find the makeup sponge is super forgiving when dabbing up the excess paint there, and is wonderful. Okay, we have a little bit extra right there. Just gonna pull that up, kind of add some of that. If you have any extra on your sponge or your paintbrush or something, just go ahead and place that in. We're going to do the interior first, and it's already starting to tear just a little bit, and that's okay. Just be really, really gentle when you're tearing it off. Again, pulling from that angle really makes a difference. kind of like you're pulling against the grain, so you're not lifting the grain up. There we go. All right. Now we get to go to the edges. I love that abstract also doesn't have to have one direction. It could be like that as well. I kind of like that one. If you are just tuning in, don't worry, we will have the replay up on the ArtSnacks channel for you to watch afterwards if you missed the beginning of how to create this whole process. All right. Yeah, super satisfying. Love it so much. All right, and now that is down, don't forget to sign your work. Always sign your work. I'm going to take a blue pen, I think, and I'm just going to sign it in this little dry corner, but always sign your work when you're done with it. Right. And then this one, so make sure and sign that one as well. And then you can always take a jelly roll pen. Let me find one. Just to clean up those areas, just a little bit. There's so few of them. Why not? Just take a little white gel pen or paint or gouache or something. Now sometimes if it's active, if it's water-based, like if it's a watercolor, it will reactivate with your jelly roll pen. And that's not a bad thing. It's okay. Just be aware of it. Know it's there. I was seriously hoping that it was going to be acrylic based, but it's not. I hit the watercolor, which is totally fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean those edges up just a little bit. Here we go. Looking good, looking good. Now, one of the things that whenever I actually tore off some masking tape recently on this board, I went ahead and took an eraser with some of the torn washi tape, and I kind of smoothed it out just a little bit. You need a kind of a strong eraser, one that has a little bit of grit to it. And this one doesn't need a whole lot, but it could use a little bit of love down here. And because that's acrylic, it's not gonna move. All right. Nope, looks good. Pleased with that. All right. And there you have it, guys. Some beautiful abstract fun. If anything, it was just fun. This is my favorite, you guys. If anything, it's just fun to make. And it's just fun to get to be loose and creative with your art. It doesn't have to be as structured as what you're normally used to. And sometimes that's all that you need, is to just be able to break out of that zone. These inks, you guys, these inks are so versatile. I love them so much. There are sets available, or there's a set available in the ArtSnacks shop, and you can also buy them as individual colors. If you just wanted one or two colors specifically, then look for those. And then they've got all the colors of the Marabu sprays. These are also very versatile, and it's something I wouldn't expect. These are great to work with in general. Just as a paint, as a acrylic watercolor, which, guys, when you think about it, acrylic paint does not behave like watercolor most of the time. So to find something that's diluted enough to a perfection to be able to use as a watercolor, but permanent when dry, think about the possibilities that you could actually obtain with that. And it's also just really fun to shake them up. Not gonna lie. So all these colors are available in the ArtSnacks shop, and they're sets of the inks. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors at Marabu Creative USA. Be sure and give them a follow, you guys. If you're not following from them, you really want to be, because they create such amazing products, but they also share amazing art by people as well. Like they're so supportive in the artist community. I want to give a huge thank you to Marabu for sponsoring this live stream and for supporting ArtSnacks. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was super fun. I got 2 new mixed media pieces out of this. This one I love. These are just my colors. And yeah, I'll be back here with you guys next Monday. Tune in then for another mixed media project. And happy February. I'll see you guys in March. Have a good night, you guys. Stay safe. Bye now.